All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Saturday, the 26th of September, and after 1 week's break, we're back with episode 6 of Zero's Witching Hour. That's me, back to pretend to be able to teach you about art and design, creativity, making things in Photoshop, and of course, also traditionally, last time we actually had the webcam on, looking at my hands getting dirty. We were drawing with coal and pastels and all kinds of lovely, lovely mediums. Episode 5 is, of course, available on the YouTube channel. And after this episode, episodes 5 and 6 will be available at zeroe.at witching hour. Watch the first 4 episodes. They are already the last 2. I will still add. So then, today, I just wanted to actually discuss a little bit more theory, with of course practical bits added. But I would actually like to just explain a couple of things um, about art. As I've told you, I studied graphic design and illustration. Design, illustration, and fine art. Fine art we did at school. So, what's the difference between these three? Right, they're clearly all something creative, something artistic. Um, Graphic design is things like, wait up, let me just briefly control if Flashboard not working. I can't see it work. It works. It works. Okay. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. It says live stream is starting soon, and my watch me work. It's making me a little paranoid. Hmm. If you say so. If you say so. Start broadcast. I don't know. It seems to have choked for me. Sorry, guys. The watchmework.com. Ah. Ah. Fuck! I made a mistake now. It was working. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Am I streaming now? Guys. Fuck. Mm-hmm. Graphic design, stress provider. Sorry, slight technical problems with the other website. I can't tell if it's working or not. Watchmework.com. Gonna start that again. It was working. Graphic design, stress provider. Sorry, slight technical problems the other website. Oh, it seems to work now. Okay, cool. Never mind. It's working or not. Watchmework.com. Sorry. It seems to be okay. Okay, so the watchmework.com stream is working. Yeah, Leo, good that you're here. The audio there is a little bit off because it has to go through a Google Hangouts that's mirrored via YouTube over restream.io. I don't know why it has to be like that. Um, yeah. So about that. Anyways, back to back to the illustration at hand. So graphic design, what is it? Graphic designs are things like logo design, and it's obviously Google it. The Google logo is a piece of graphic design here, right? Making using typography, using basic shapes and colors. Graphic design is used a lot in advertising, in print media design, in print. These kind of vector bubbles are very graphic designy things you do with text. A photo and text is also graphic design. hmm Playing with basics. Design, there you see. Next, illustration. An illustration is something like my own drawings. This is my work now. I was just using Google before. Illustrations. Um, yeah, this is a more finished illustration. As you can see, it's actually illustrations are usually either drawings or paintings, but you can of course use any medium to illustrate something. But as you can see, I drew it. There's nothing, no printed text or photography, but there's actually a few graphic design elements in this illustration. These circular rings and the way this wind is drawn. Um, this is an illustration of a troll with an axe. Simple drawing. But the key to illustration is not to learn to draw, but to be able to transport ideas. Um, as I have explained in the past, if somebody asks you to draw something, they have an image of what they want you to draw in their head, and you have an image in your own head of what you think it's going to look like. Like if Jeff K wants to have a picture of a dragon, he says draw a dragon. You're like, okay, cool. But what if he means the dragon toothless from How to Train Your Dragon, and you're thinking about Smog from The Hobbit, and you draw Smog, and then he's like, but why did you draw the dragon like that? That's not what I meant. And then you're like, okay, oh, but you didn't explain what you meant. You just said dragon. So that's where illustration comes in. You need to learn how to be able to draw so that it appeals not to your own taste, but to the taste of the person that you're drawing for. As such, you should always like communicate, see what colors they like, what kind of shapes, what kind of images. Are they more a skull and crossbones kind of person, or are they more the kind of person that wears butterflies on their t-shirts? Who knows, right? You need to find that out, and you need to work that into your drawings then as well. You need to illustrate ideas, yes, but you don't just illustrate um, things like that. You also use them. You see illustrations in newspapers a lot. Yeah, let's bring up Google. hmm Caricatures and comics are also illustrations in a way. This is an illustration. At uni, they always told us that we should aim to make illustrations for um, newspapers like The Guardian or The Independent. This cool illustration of the cat and the mouse. News. An illustration of a newspaper. Haha, of course. It's not a pipe. It's a drawing of a pipe. It's actually a digital projection of a drawing of a pipe. Digital projection of a file of a drawing, and so forth. Um, this is not a pipe. It's surrealist. Let's follow this trail because from illustration we're moving into fine art. And what is fine art? Good question, right? Fine art are things like paintings, impressionism. Van Gogh, most famous impressionist. Expressionism. Let's go into art theory and history a bit. Expressionism. The scream. Wilhelm Tell. The Wilhelm scream, not Wilhelm Tell. Haha. mm. Expressionism is fine art. Cubism is fine art. Francis Bacon is fine art. But that's not him. I mean, that is him. Francis Bacon is fine art. Some say that, I don't know, sculpting is fine art. Ain't that cool? It's definitely fine art. Mhm. Certain print. Oops. Ooh, screen printing. It's a combination of early form of being able to print graphic design. What else is fine art? I would consider things like 3D painting, like ZBrush, as fine art. In order to be able to paint that, you need incredible understanding of anatomy and art and design and foundations of all of these things that we were discussing wonderfully in the past couple of episodes. But that's definitely very, very cool. Hey, Son Goku is a 3D model. That's pretty sick. Let's save that. Keep it for later. I would say that manga is illustration more rather than fine art. I think comic books in general um, cover the entire spectrum. You can find every art style in comic books. Hmm. What else can we learn about different art styles? Data. What is it? Yes, exactly. Data shoes. No. Data is just being random. This is a very famous data. I think the Lady Skull and of course the toilet. Where is it? The useless toilet. It's also data art. Find this. I think this is in the Tate Modern. This toilet now in London. Obviously, because people love to spend a lot of money on toilets, right? I would consider a lot of street art as fine art actually. Banksy is definitely crossing lots of borders, but he's an easy pick. But he actually uses a combination of graphic design, print screening, um, fine art in his works because he needs to produce them very quickly when he's on the screen. So he makes stencils, but the things he makes them from are high art, I would say, very high. Look at this, how sick it is. Also, this is already refined the pop art. What is pop art? Andy Warhol, right? Everybody knows that. Perfection, or so they say. This, I love this. Audrey Hepburn breakfast, Tiffany's. It's like Clint Eastwood when he was young. Yeah, this used to be high art, and now you can get these at your local print shop for $10 a pop. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Mm, kapow. It's different artists, how they're connected. Ah, this is what I was looking for. So, right, brief art history lesson using a cartoon. Cartoons are. Have you seen the anime Bleach? Jazzy asks. Yes, I have seen it and I love it. I even had some Bleach drawings somewhere. I'm in fact gonna go and look for those right now. Photo bucket. It is the archive. I'm just gonna bring that up for you, Jazzy. Give me a second. Sure, I have it saved somewhere. Okay, I'll look for the Bleach drawing for you a little later. I can't remember my own password. What art am I in for? Well, I actually dabble in a whole lot of styles. I will explain. So, history of art, the avant-garde. I mean, this covers from the 17th century all the way up to now, I would say. Realism, pretty straightforward. It's a man with a fly swatter, a fly, and looks like real life. This man is real life. Believe it. Believe it. Impressionism, yes. Let's just use colors and shapes to create the mood. Just suggest things. How can we paint him without painting him, basically? Still remaining all the general shapes and colors, keeping them somewhat close to nature. Fauvism, everything has been simplified a lot. I like how they also added the correct the correct like titles for the painting. Young kills fly. Fauvism. Art Nouveau. Oh god, Art Nouveau are things like those the absent girl. Liv. There she is. This is Art Nouveau. Huxley, I think, is the guy who made all these. The Czech guy. Czech guy made all these awesome Art Nouveau things. Expressionism. Yes, paint what you feel, not really what you see. Cubism. Portrait of man with flies, water in hand. um, yeah, Cubism. Futurism, there's very few elements of the original painting left. Dynamism of the hunted fly. Futurism that comes actually from Italy in the 1930s, I think. That's where it started. Abstract art. You get the. I think you catch the drift. Yeah, this will tell you everything you need to know about abstract art. Jackson Pollock. There you go. Just paint whatever the fuck you want. A very cool new school abstract painter who you might know and maybe even like is Dog. Dog paints abstract and impressionist things.
The music and my life don't. My process when I get.
He's got a process. There you go.
My
Look at
mind
him.
somewhere else where it was a colorful time, where these colors and these patterns and these ideas really mean something to me and what I was going through as a kid. Or maybe
All right, you guys watch that. I'll post the link in the chat. Let's go back to our history of the art. Dadaism I just showed you. A random toilet and yeah. Suprematism. Red fly insinuates the little man. I don't even know what this is. Suprematism. Ah, okay, it's just basic blocks. Like, yeah, the thing. Kazimir Malevich comes from Russia. The paintings with the few squares where you always wonder why people would pay so much money for it. Metaphysics. Disquieting fly. Metaphysics. It's just out there, I guess. This kind of stuff. I would say that Andrew Jones uh, makes metaphysics art. Android, who I showed you before. Metaphysics slash concept art. How good is that? Sick. I guess this is like metaphysics. I don't know. Metaphysics, concept, fantasy. Something like that. Surrealism. We all know. The man with the mustache. Salvador Dali, where are you, mate? Show us your mustache. There it is. Ah, with his ocelot or whatever it was that he always brought with him. Crazy, crazy guy, and of course the melting clocks. It's just so surreal, man. And yes, the weird long-legged moving houses and stuff. Wonder what this guy was smoking sometimes. Action painting. Shiny black and fly. Oh god. These are like your typical 17-year-old rebellious art students. Don't see much of a difference between this and abstraction, but whatever. Whatever rocks your boat, I guess. Hmm. Hmm. Pop art. We have seen already, Mr. Arnival. Hi! You'll never kill me! Okay, now you must die. And minimalism. Of course. The man on the fly. This is the man. And this is the fly. Symbols, right? Yeah, Nikki, verfällt die Mona Lisa, ja oder nein? And is there a second picture behind it? Lino is making audacious claims. He can fluid about art. Verfällt die Mona Lisa? Yeah, it would decay with time, but I'm sure they're employing everything to. Let's find out. Um, is there a second painting behind it? No, and yes, there the Mona Lisa will have been drawn in many layers. First a charcoal or pencil layer, then some matte colors, some primers, some bases, then some acrylics, probably more pencil, and so forth. That means sometimes you hear like these people on the news, art experts, talk about X-raying paintings, right? Um, so you do that to see what the process was. Is there another painting picture behind it? Yes, in that sense, but it was made by Leonardo, right? And all those paintings put together, all those layers make the Mona Lisa look what it does, look like, look the way it does. Is the Mona Lisa decaying? Let's find out. I would imagine. So when you plan exhibitions and stuff, it's really important to consider things like the humidity of the air and the strength of the light that shines onto the paintings, then how hot they shine and things like that. Do you work with art? It sounds like you work with gallery or something and have study art. Yes, I here I tell you about my art studies that I am beginning to share with you now. You can find out there. Yeah, I do done drawing for a long time. Actually started teaching at the university not that long ago. I mean, it's not a practical art degree; it's a theoretical one. Well, that's cool for now. Mona Lisa and the second law of thermodynamics. Here's the latest alarming news. Curators at the Louvre are concerned about the deterioration of the world's most revered painting, the portrait of the Mona Lisa. The portrait has been deteriorating since it left Da Vinci's easel approximately 500 years ago. Exactly. At the point where you stop adding fresh paint to it, it starts decaying. Um, but nowadays we have digital art, which will never decay, which is interesting. Something interesting I read today was that they actually managed to measure the weight of data, and I think 4 gigabytes of data has the weight of one molecule. Exactly. That's what I think it said. Sweet. You go full screen. Um, the molecular biologist approach to the problem involves collecting enough artifacts. Yeah, basically you're gonna need Leonardo to make a new Mona Lisa. But even if you would try and paint it exactly the same way, it would not be possible. It would never be exactly the same. The way the when the way how hot it was that day with the paint that was out and the air humidity of the air, it'll change it. I don't know how Leonardo was feeling the day when he painted the Mona Lisa. If he was feeling happy or sad, what he had to eat, it all depends. You could never recreate it the same way. What do they do in restoration exactly? Do they add pigment particles of color? Yes, a big part of it is to research what paint the old masters use and then either to use exactly that or the most reasonable recreation of it and to restore and repaint exactly as it was. Chris Steele's sister actually does this kind of art restoration. So you could talk to Chris if you have more questions about this. But it's a very difficult craft and field to restore old art and sculptures and things like that. Have a lot of respect for people who can do that. Mm-mm. Yeah, where were we? Andrew Jones. Suprematism is, we have learned, is the art style of the big black square on the page, and you wonder why it costs $1 million. Jackson Pollock, Synth Girl was Art Nouveau, and of course there's also Art Deco, boo boo boo, and art de deco is of course more architecture. This arches, patterns. The game Bioshock, Bioshock, Rapture. The city Rapture is an art deco city. Mhm. New York still has a bunch of art deco buildings. The Chrysler building is art deco. There it is. Yes, I think those are the basic art styles, the fine art styles of 2D, two-dimensional fine art. I guess you could apply this to three-dimensional art as well, and you can apply aspects of traditional 2D and 3D art into modern digital art. That's the crux. That's why you have, um, as I showed you before, ZBrush and the tools that you use nowadays to make computer games. They allow for absolutely amazing creativity, and I honestly can't wait until you can paint in like virtual reality environments and stuff like that. It's gonna be absolutely awesome. Should figure out a way to port Photoshop to the Oculus Rift there. That would be nice. Something like that. Mm. People will be able to paint things on completely new scale like we've never seen before. Mm. So yeah, um, what have we learned thus far? The differences between graphic design, logos, and text and typography, things like that. Illustration, being able to convey ideas into two-dimensional and also into three-dimensional form, and fine art is basically just expressing yourself. Express yourself with fine art. Um, yes, there's a bunch of things that obviously that are underneath fine art. You learn life drawing, right? Drawing nudes. You learn how to do case studies of artists. Redraw the masters is what you need to do a lot. Michelangelo and Da Vinci. You know, um, fine art also. Oops, sorry guys. Also covers art history more than illustration or graphic design. Fine art also includes sculpting, elements of printing, even though printing also go into illustration, graphic design. And yeah, what fine art have I done recently? Let me show you. I actually to participate in a contest, the dark side, and I have in fact finished. And I would say that this is a fine art painting. What? The selected file cannot be found. What? What? No, I know I saved it somewhere. I must have certainly. It's kidding me, dark side. I moved it. I moved it. No, I can't believe that I moved it. Dark side 6. Oh my god, I can't. There it is. Dark side 8. What would you class seriously, what would you class when art is used with letters like a rap? That's calligraphy. That is calligraphy. Calligraphy is the art of hand drawn characters. That's an excellent question. This Calligraphy, a mixture of fine arts and graphic design, because you need to have the technique. Graphic design, calligraphy, Asia. Hieroglyphics and the drawing and the image. Okay, that's terrific. It's new school. Beautiful. That's awesome. And you need to be like at peace with yourself to make it properly, you know. Mhm. Die Feder und das Schwert. You need them both for battle. Interesting. So we learned a little bit about calligraphy. It's a great question, Jazz Cans. Also, yeah. And I just want to show you the painting that I made in Photoshop. The dark side of the duck. I tried to use illustration and fine art elements. Of course, the entire progress for this is available as a video playlist if you want to see how. Thank you very much. I made it over the last 2 weeks, but I was finished. The deadline was September 14th. So I had it in September 14th. Thank you. Thank you. And yes, here, look, I'm still planning on making a time lapse video out of this, but you can watch the whole process how I made it. Yes. See, guys, this is where you can see how a full drawing gets made. Wrap it up. This is how I started. Then this, then this, then this. As you see, like I actually added like some. Here it's more realistic, actually. But at the end, I decided to add the red lines around Darth Vader and the purple lines around Phantomias, Super Duck. Man is surfing down the mountain with Geralt of Riva. Geralt of Rivia. My bad. And yeah, guys, like if you still have a few more questions, sit style, then feel free to ask. Otherwise, that'll be me for today with a pure lesson of theory after we did a pure practical one last time. Yeah. Da, 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 da. Mm-hmm. And now And now, I guess that was Zero's Witching Hour episode 6. What is my favorite art style? Well, that is a very tough question. Um, I'll just show you some favorites. I like I like Akira Toriyama. And I like Andrew John. I really, really like Frank Miller.
Did you know there was a documentary on Netflix about the making of the Turtles?
Was there
Yeah, very good documentary actually. They go through their inspiration and how they came up with it.
with the original
Yeah, yeah, the
artists?
original artists. Yeah, it's really good.
So it was actually intended to be much darker at first. The Turtles.
And it was originally the first comics. They were very gritty. They said they were very much inspired by Frank Miller and others at the time.
Very good. So yeah, I like Frank Miller a lot. I like like Moore's great. Made Watchmen. Watchmen is an Alan Moore. Um, oh, Botticelli. This just
Drop
died.
to the dead.
You are dead. Oh dear. I think Botticelli, the Venus.
Because you were talking about Leonardo da Vinci, about Mona Lisa before. I don't know if you heard about. There was some theory that they recently found a second Mona Lisa,
Behind it.
like painted from a slightly different, skewed perspective, right? Which was the, so
Oh, so that's what
theory.
Leo meant.
The theory goes that it was Leonardo's student who he was painting it side by side with, and because the perspective is about a meter to the side, the idea is that it was the first three-dimensional painting intended to be
Ah,
the first stereoscopic painting,
amazing.
right?
Amazing. So you're slightly from that
And you
side.
can look at a side-by-side comparison.
This?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So the left one is the original,
Yes.
and that's the student's one. And you can see that it's if you look at the background, it's just ever so slightly. The background is ever so slightly off, right?
Yeah, that's true. There's more mountain here
Exactly.
and less more mountain
Exactly.
here.
So the theory is that maybe Leonardo had some kind of device that we don't know of that he used that he could look at both paintings at the same time, maybe through some kind of refractive lens, to then have a 3D image.
Indeed. What happened? Okay, let's try something now, guys. As part of the witching hour. Still, what happens if we put them on top of each
Oh,
other?
Leo said it's just a prank. Leo, what's a prank? Now you need 3D glasses.
Could be, right? It's not totally on top of each 50%. cool, isn't it? Hmm. All right, so maybe Leonardo da Vinci didn't know about stereoscopic 3D. Who knows? This is not entirely.
But it's definitely plausible that he was experimenting with stuff like that, considering all the stuff he was experimenting.
Indeed.
It's obviously not going to be.
But yeah, look, you can see how the layer, how the perspective is different. Fascinating. So yeah, the mystery of the Mona Lisa. Cool. We'll look back into that. So yeah, guys, that was episode 6 for this Saturday. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys on watchmework.com. I hope it worked properly. Yeah, sweet. Pieces. We're gonna get back to some Total War now. A bit of Starbound later as well. Some other stuff. Stay tuned. Be right back. Mm. All right.